What's up, everyone? This is Tom, the Headhunter Higgins, and this is a video I've been wanting to remake for a little while. Just getting around to it now. It's about wrestling as a spiritual ritual over sport. Wrestling is often used as a rite of passage in many cultures. It's prevalent in lots of mythology or origin stories, whether it's a god or a hero or whatever, and the wrestling match is serving as some sort of a test for his development or her development, and it's one of the most ancient sports, probably the oldest sport, maybe except for running and racing, but wrestling has been important to many cultures, many civilizations. You'll see it throughout all types of mythology. Like I said, there's a lot of other reasons why I consider it a spiritual ritual. For one, like when people do ceremonial magic or whatever, it's often done in a circle, like they cast a circle in occult and spiritual rituals, and wrestling is done within a circle, so there's that aspect to it. There's the weight cutting aspect where you're not eating or drinking anything and you're fasting, you're abstaining from eating and drinking, which is a spiritual practice. Many fighters talk about how they don't have sex or they abstain from sex or masturbating, they practice semen retention. A lot of the greatest warriors of all time have believed that that's a powerful thing for retaining energy, and those are just a few aspects of the spiritual components. If you look at other cultures like sumo or Indian wrestling, cultures that I really admire and draw influence from, they look at it in a much more spiritual way. And here's some quotes from the videos that I sourced before that got this video taken down from copyright, so hopefully it stays up this time. But this is a speech from the leader or some sort of a priest before a sumo match, and everything he's saying is just completely epic. If you take a look and read the subtitles, he's talking about how the match is, what it means to be human, and just putting a really fucking epic spin on what it means to wrestle and partake in this contest. And this is called defeat, this is victory. Just, it's kind of dramatic, but it's awesome, honestly. Like, preparing the wrestlers and the crowd for what they're about to witness and partake in, and I like that perspective a lot, more so than just kind of how we do in America or with Olympic-style wrestling, and much more of a athletic endeavor and making it more sporty, But for the longest time and throughout a bunch of other cultures, wrestling is much more of a spiritual and a metaphysical practice. Here, Indian wrestlers praying to Hanuman, their god, before wrestling, before they do practices. Hanuman is considered like the deity of wrestling to them. They pay tribute to him, pray to him. He's a monkey god. He also is always portrayed with a mace or gada, which is used in the strength and conditioning. You've probably seen in some of my videos, but they're the ones who originated it. Iranian and Indian, Persian wrestlers with their tradition of swinging mace as a form of transcendental training and strength development. Here we got some African wrestlers that are doing similar rituals. They're doing all types of traditions. It says wrestling brings the spirits out, and all the wrestlers are trying to gain the favor of the spirits so that they can, have influence on them and help them win and protect them from being hurt. Like the sumo wrestlers, when they do that stamp before the match, when they stomp on the ground, that's supposedly to clear the grounds of evil spirits. Here it says, ask the spirits to protect you and be with you. But you can see that a lot of other cultures, they take wrestling very serious. They take the spiritual aspect of it very serious. And I think that's something that could be incorporated a lot more into our training, our practice, our, mindset going into competition, the preparation. And when I went to the World Championship for catch wrestling, and I spent the whole week before that just exploring places in Ireland, visiting these sacred sites, going to, historical sites and counties that my ancestors were from, and feeling very, spiritually in tune and connected. I wasn't doing very much training. The training was already done before I'd gotten there. It was just the few days beforehand to prepare, and I was by myself, in solitude. I just really did feel spiritually connected to the land and just spiritually dialed in with myself. Here's the Indian leaders of the wrestling team in Kushti, or Palwani is what it's called. They're talking about how wrestlers have the purest soul of any athlete. The Indian wrestlers are often vegetarian. They try to be honorable, and for them, religion and wrestling are extensions of the same thing. And that by wrestling and developing yourself and testing yourself, it gets you closer to God, just like this guy says here, bringing his mind and senses under control. And the transcendental physical training of hitting lots of reps on the squats or push-ups or mace, putting you into that meditative state, and just the mentality that it takes to wrestle day in, day out and test yourself against somebody else. Often in, even over in America and just the modern day perspective on wrestling, there's weight cutting, which is you're starving yourself. You're basically fasting, and there's benefits, but for a long time, fasting was seen as a spiritual practice and a way to get your senses under control, get you closer to God, get you more spiritually in tune. Also, you often hear athletes or boxers, wrestlers, warriors talk about semen retention or being celibate, abstaining from sex, or, abstaining from food, abstaining from impure practices, if you will, just completely dedicating yourself to wrestling, dedicating yourself to your training, to your purpose, to your goal. Here we got some jaguar wrestling, Mexican, South American, dressing up as a jaguar as a form of ritual combat before they wrestle. The jaguar was a sacred animal in ancient times to them, and they would dress as the jaguar to, take on the spirit of the deity to help them before they would wrestle. And then you just got more stone carvings and portrayals of wrestling. Just shows the importance that ancient cultures put onto wrestling. And even nowadays, we have WWE, which is massive. You get huge stadiums sold out to watch wrestling. Even though it's staged and it's fake, its origins lie in wrestling, and it's imitating a wrestling match. So the appeal is still there. Like, people widely love to watch wrestling. People are entertained by it. It's a very captivating thing, and I think that it still has some obvious and apparent connections to spirituality. Like I mentioned before, the fasting, the abstinence, the meditative exercises, the fact that it's such an ancient and revered practice. It is connecting you through time to your ancestors who practiced this, to the ancient cultures who practiced this, participating in a self-development exercise where you and the other person, you're both testing yourself, you're both pushing each other to the limits. You learn a lot about yourself. And comment below what you think, whether you agree or if you have anything to add, if you think that the spiritual component is important, if you think I'm just crazy. Be sure to like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I'll see you guys in the next one.